and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen us. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
the Yerky Boys.
We're here in person again today.
Again?
Today.
Why?
We were last week we were here. That was a whole week ago.
Right.
In person. I'm still here. I came back or something. Whatever you want to imagine happened. I'm here now.
Mm-hmm. Your headcanon.
We are talking about another tabletop Animorphs game would be the correct terminology.
Yeah.
This is the Animorphs Customizable Card Game.
That's right. Which I believe is officially just titled Animorphs. But it is a quote-unquote customizable card game. Not to be confused with a collectible card game.
Right.
Because it isn't that.
Yes, there's no collection.
I mean, there's no collection at all anymore because they're not making it anymore.
Well, you collected a couple of them.
I collected 2. I've collected all the cards, actually.
Wow.
We have the full collection.
Crazy. Completionist.
This was released in 1999, a year after the last game. And you can tell because this one is full on, all the artwork is from the show.
Yes, this is entirely a show-based game.
It is. It's entirely show-based game.
Now,
hey, welcome to the show, everybody.
welcome. Yeah, you want to do a little show intro here?
Well, here's the thing. There's a chance nobody sent us any feedback after last week. However, if you did send an email last week to the yerkyboys@gmail.com, we haven't read it, and we're not going to read it now. I guess we could, in the future, splice it in.
Probably read it eventually, though.
Yeah, eventually.
Maybe for next week.
But just if you're sitting there going, why haven't they read my email?
I know that's what you all talk like.
You just got to wait until next week's show, and we'll read it. And go to our Patreon, patreon.com/theyerkyboys, because once again, if you don't know what the customizable card game is all about, and you're interested to see a full playthrough and an opening of brand new copies, you can see that at our Patreon, exclusive for $5 a month, plus a bonus episode every goddamn week.
Animorphs. The customizable card game. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that's right. All right, so this is our second and last episode when it comes to tabletop Animorphs games. It's only these two. Now that you're actually saying the dates, that does mean that these both predate the like actual video games, not the like shitty ones, right?
Yes, they all came out in 2000. Oh yeah, except for the web ones.
Yeah. So there we go. I guess this is what people wanted back in the day, or were video games just new? Because it's we got on the board game train sooner than the video game train, and I feel like that might not be what would happen in a modern.
Well, board games are easier to make. Like they are just easier and cheaper to make. I mean, unless you make a really shitty video game or a really good board game. But especially in the 90s, some cards and cardboard is a lot simpler than we got to code a bunch of shit. So that kind of makes sense. I mean, talking today about a customizable card game, I don't know, this doesn't really apply, but in the 90s, of course, they're still big today, but I feel like in the 90s, every with Magic and Pokemon, everything had a card game. That, in fact, the publisher of this game, Decipher, they have quite a few themselves. They had a Star Wars, a Star Trek, they had an Austin Powers CCG, this company.
Holy shit.
We'll go over their catalog.
We're doing that for the Patreon now. Fuck whatever we were gonna do.
I mean, I know there was a Buffy one. There was a Harry Potter. It might have been around this time actually. Like any property that had some following, I feel like at some point somebody said make it a CCG. Now this isn't exactly a CCG.
Yeah, it's a different C.
But that's probably part of the catalyst for this was these are hot right now. That's my thinking.
That could be. Although, yeah, I mean, like there is a big difference between This feels like a more of a board gamer's card game, right? Like this is not
Mm.
the sort of thing you're going to go into like Walmart and be like, "Oh shit, there's a pack of Animorphs cards. I could go get 6 new Animorphs cards or something." Right?
Hmm.
Like these are I guess we haven't really said much about it, but effectively you're buying these pre-made decks. So and there's 2 sets of 2. So what do they call them here? Yeah, I guess they're just called sets. So set 1, there's a Cassie deck and a Jake deck. And then set 2, there is a Rachel deck and a Marco deck. And that's all they made. But they are customizable because I guess you can mix and match the cards.
You can make your own deck. That's the
Yes.
customizable. So like a trading card game, you can make your own deck. I mean, really what it is in essence is what we now call an LCG, a living card game,
Mm.
which is like Marvel Champions, Android Netrunners, no longer in print, but that was the first big one, where you can make your own decks, but there's no randomization. You just buy sets, which is my preference of that kind of game. So that is what this is. They just didn't. The term LCG wasn't around yet, and
Yeah.
nobody cared about this game.
Yeah.
I don't know if they invented it.
I just feel like if you're trying to hop in on the hot trend of cards, you also want to hop in on the gambling for children aspect because that's really where you get the money.
It is odd that they didn't go that route. I mean, it's good for us because it makes it a lot easier for us
Sure
to play
does.
it and not have to worry about all that crap. But yeah, it is these 2 sets. I'm sure if the game was successful, there would have been a set 3 Axe and Tobias.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Or who knows what they would have done.
Alternate Jake decks, just additional cards that you could swap in, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's no booster packs or anything like that. It's just this. I in advance of playing the game was fully prepared today. I thought I was gonna get to go on a 15-minute rant about why I don't like Magic the Gathering and why I don't like collectible card games. But it turns out none of that's relevant at all to
it's
this.
not relevant at all. Yeah, and I thought I was going to come in here and be all like, yes, I have some experience with card games because I have played a pretty reasonable amount of Magic the Gathering. But yes, also not really relevant here at all.
This game is so not what I expected it to be. I mean, I knew the C was customizable, but I thought that was just they didn't know back then what to call things. You know?
I mean, it still could be like this sort of
Sure.
thing and still played, very similarly. It's not like you couldn't buy a pre-construct. I mean, you listed off a bunch of games that work just like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, what I imagined was we were going to sit down. Oh, I have the Marco deck. I'm going to draw 5 cards, and then maybe some sort of system. I get to play a card. I'll play a morph, and then you play a morph, and then we fight each other. This is nothing. Like that.
Yeah. Here's my Marco. Play morph. I get Cassie comes and shows up. Oh, here's a Hork-Bajir. He's attacking you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I played this card out, and now that means we're now at the York pool, so all the things changed. A lot of options here.
Yeah,
it's not that.
But with all the licenses Magic is doing, when are they going to get around to Animorphs?
I know, right? When are they?
I mean,
I'm buying that.
The art would be pretty
Animorphs
sick.
Universe is beyond hell, yes.
Yeah, not only is it not like a CCG, it's not really like almost any game I've ever played. I mean, it has mechanics that are common to many games, but the way that you play through it, which I guess we should just tell people, is unusual.
I mean, just in general, playing it feels closer to the experience of playing a board game than a card game.
Yes, I think that is correct and true and accurate.
Thank you.
Of course, these days there's a lot of overlap in those 2 categories. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Here's how it works.
Yes.
So each player does have a deck, and they do choose Marco or Jake or whoever, as long as you have the sets for them. And there are 25 location cards that essentially make up the playing field, which is a stand-in for a board, really. It's just a way of, if you made this game today, it might have been like cardboard pieces, and they would have just called it a modular board. but it's cards.
Yes. You each have your own deck, and then there is a location deck that is shuffled and then laid out in a 5x5 grid.
Which it doesn't, like, the fact that calling it the location deck doesn't matter because it's not a deck once the game starts.
These could be your location tiles
right. And your character cards move around the cards like it were a board.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition, besides each of you has their own Animorph, all the other Animorphs, or 3 of them, I don't know, depends on which set you have or what you're doing, are also there, and either player can interact with them. They're neutral. You are competing in this game, although you are also working together to once again stop the Yerks. It's still competitive.
Just like last time. We're assuming everyone listening to this episode listened to the last episode about...
Sure.
Right?
I know.
Yeah. If you don't, there's going to be some basic knowledge about like who Jonathan is with regards to board games. We're not going to fucking say that shit again.
No.
If you don't know about the Invasion board game, or whatever, the Invasion game. Go back and listen to that and then come here. No new listeners allowed.
A lot of people tuning in are really just love the customizable card game.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the problem. They see Animorphs podcast. They see this episode. It's called Animorphs. That's the one.
Just like the Game Boy Color game.
Right.
It's 2 episodes in the same month. Animorphs. All right. Anyway, the way the game plays. So you have your Animorphs on your field of 25 cards, and the locations are all places from the show or the books. You know, it's everyone's house. It's the school, the mall, Victor Trent's estate, all kinds of shit. Also go watch the show if you haven't, or you'll be lost.
Yeah. The industrial area that they're always hiding behind bricks in.
Mm-hmm. So basically the game is you're trying to get 24 points first. Why is it 24 points?
Well, you see, you can only stay in morph for 2 hours. Right. And there are 24 hours in a day. So you need 24 points to win.
Yeah, the part about 2 hours in a morph is not relevant to the points.
No, but it gets you the tie-in from Animorphs to hours.
Hours matter.
Hours,
your hours, as Axe would say.
As Axe would say. I don't know that hours actually matter at all, but other than the points.
Every point you get represents an hour. I don't know.
You have 1 day to stop the Yerks. I don't know.
Okay. Regardless, how do you get points? Well, there are going to be in your deck. You're going to, and I'll explain the turn. I feel like I'll just get the points out of the way first. But in your deck, there are spy cards, which will show you locations that have. You get info that there's Yerk activity there, I guess is the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And once those are in the field, you can then take your character there, and you need to essentially pass what's usually referred to in a lot of modern board games as a skill check. I mean, D&D, right?
Yeah.
A skill test, something like that, by a combination of stats, which each character has different stats, strength, smarts, and spy. So in this case, you'd use spy. And then you roll 2 dice, add all those numbers together, and if you beat the target number, you win that card and you get some points. Then you also get to draw a card from the Yerk pool deck, which is essentially the exact same thing, but they're harder, they're worth more points, and they use different stats besides spy.
Yes, so effectively, right, plot-wise, right, you would
plot-wise,
you would discover that there was intel at, I don't know, the woods, and then you and some of your Animorph friends would show up at the woods. You would try to spy it out. If you succeed, you get a couple points, and something happens, right? You find alien technology or a controller shows up, and that's the real hard thing. And if you do that, then you get a lot of points, and if you fail that, something bad probably happens.
So most of the spy cards are between 1 and 4 points, something like that.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I did see ones that were 4. Yeah,
and then the Yerk pool cards are like 6 to 12 points. Like they're ridiculous. They're much larger.
Yes. Which 12 points. You remember.
That's
we're playing to 24. Yes.
Yes. The game doesn't last super long. I mean, I guess it could, theoretically. Anyway, the way the game actually works on your turn, you do not have a hand of cards. You do not draw more than one card. The game begins, you take the top card of your deck, and you do what it says. And so it could be a spy card, which shows you where to go to spy. It could be a morph card, which lets you morph a character into that animal. And they have different stats and speeds as well, because the characters have a certain range of movement. It could be an I'm in card. That's the one that actually allows you to move your characters to try to go do a spy mission.
I'm in, like that.
Exactly, I'm in. And you can move yourself and any of the neutral Animorphs, their speed, when you get that. And then there's the Thought Speak cards, which are just, miscellaneous actions. Like,
Yeah. Is that like Tobias is telling you something, or I don't
sure,
know? You might have meetings where all the Animorphs show up at one place, or everyone might have to demorph or something.
yeah, different things that none of them are really like antagonistic against your opponent, I don't think. Not directly. You could use them to mess with them a little bit, but they're mostly just change the board state.
Now, you say you could use them, but I
Yeah.
don't think you have a choice.
Well, no, I mean you could use them to mess with someone. Like if you get a card that's there's one that's flip 3 Animorphs.
Ah, yes. Okay, that one you get a choice. Yes.
You could flip one of their cards.
Yeah, but like a lot of them will just say like, okay, everybody has to demorph. It's not like you can say, do I want everyone to demorph?
Yeah.
Or is it better for me? No, they're all demorphing. Right.
Yes.
Do I want them all to have a meeting at Cassie's barn? Maybe that's better for my I don't know. We're all meeting at Cassie's barn though. That's what's happening.
Yes. If you draw it, you play it. That's
Yes.
it. And that's also a cool thing is that your Animorphs are all double-sided. They actually go in, it comes with sleeves, this game.
Mm-hmm.
And you sleeve them and you flip the card over if they morph, or you slot a new morph into the other side if you draw a new morph for them. We didn't also talk about kind of the how we got this one, but we'll talk about that. We can get through the rules first.
Mm-hmm.
We got through pretty much all of them.
This is basically it. Yeah, we've basically talked about how this game works. You at this point, whatever you're imagining, you're probably pretty close to what this game is.
You're essentially drawing a card, and your goal is to be able to make it to a spy location, have enough characters there to roll dice high enough to get points to win.
Yes. Yeah. You're playing a board game, except instead of a board, it's an array of cards. And instead of a figure, it's a card. And instead of like deciding what actions you want to do on your turn, or like rolling a die to see what you can do, you draw a card and that tells you what you're doing on your turn.
Yeah. And a lot of them, like if you draw a spy card, you get to draw another card from your deck.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of them chain together.
First player to 24 points wins. However, if both players run out of cards before anyone gets the point total, the Yerks win and both players lose.
Whoa.
This didn't happen to us.
Didn't even come close, honestly.
Doesn't seem like it's possible, but we don't know.
I think it could be possible. I think it just would involve a lot of not really knowing how the game works and just kind of, running with a single Animorph straight headlong into something that you need multiples to do over and over again because you're kind of dumb and you're a kid.
We will talk about this more later, but this is another one where you can play with 3 or 4 players. Maybe that affects it.
Might.
Maybe.
Could.
But you do.
I can see it.
Each player, by the way, has their own spy cards in their deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we 100% were clear on this ruling, but it seems like you can only interact with your own spy cards.
That
so
sure seems to be the case.
It's not like you can steal from the other person their stuff. It is random which ones you draw and when.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know, and where they're going to be on the board is also random because the layout of the cards is random. But here, I'll pause a little bit because last week, of course, we talked about the invasion game and the getting it on eBay and all that.
Yeah. Talk to me about the process of getting this.
Now, this one, again, it's 2 sets. These were a little trickier. These are this game is absolutely, in my experience, harder to find than the invasion board game. It doesn't seem like they made as many of these, or everybody who has them is holding on to them because they love them. Once again, I think from 2 different sellers I got these. I managed to get them sealed in plastic. And all the cards in the box. Last week we talked about how we were skeptical. It seems like there really was a sealed game, right?
Yeah. Oh,
seems
yeah.
legit.
Yeah. Nothing seemed off or strange here.
So that's good. Yeah, the cards were all in, the condition they would be in. Like the card stock's not that great, but the quality of them is fine.
Mm-hmm.
These were all a little more expensive as well. Again, like the Invasion game, it ranges. I said that one was maybe like $20 to $30-ish. I'd say this one is more like 30 to 40-ish, depending on the quality. I felt like I got a pretty good deal getting each of these was like $40. I don't remember if that's with or without shipping. One of them came from the UK or Canada or something. Like they were from all over the place. And these ones were the ones I was more worried about getting early because, like I said, they were, when I would just check eBay, always I would see plenty of invasions. These were like in and out. In fact, I didn't think originally I was even going to get Marco and Rachel set. I thought we'll probably just make do with the first one, and that's probably okay because I didn't see it as much. So,
but you did get them.
I did get them.
We did play with them.
We played with both sets.
We sure did.
Which, if you have both, you can combine them for a 4-player game. Guess, yeah, you couldn't play with like 2 of the same set because you can't really have 2 Jakes. Then it would be Chinatown 2 sequel.
That joke, I mean, when you're actually looking at me,
it took me by surprise.
Giving me the little fucking side eye, like you're so goddamn proud of yourself.
No, well, a little. But we didn't cross the streams. We did one game of Jake and Cassie, which you can watch on our Patreon, and then we did a follow-up game not filmed, Marco and Rachel. We should point out that the way they divided those sets is interesting.
It is a little strange.
Jake and Cassie, one romantic pair. Marco and Rachel, the other.
I don't know about this.
I mean, that seems like the clear thing to read into that.
I just don't know.
I think that's right.
It is interesting, though, because like it feels like you're working together to beat the Yerks.
Yeah.
But you're not really, you're still trying to race the other person. So it feels like there's supposed to be like a rivalry there. And you could see maybe Marco and Rachel having like a friendly rivalry going on.
Like a flirtatious rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, it's one way to look at it. I really don't see Jake and Cassie doing this, like for any reason ever. Like that almost might have worked better if you split it Marco, Jake, and Rachel, Cassie. Although maybe part of the reason is because they wanted one boy and one girl in every set just so that like, you wouldn't be like, oh, this is the one for the boys or whatever.
That probably is the case. Yeah. Yeah, they don't really give you any kind of justification as to why you wouldn't be helping each other.
Yeah.
Because there is none.
No,
like it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It makes no sense.
They should have had a David set in here.
Hell yes. Oh my God, David expansion.
The possibilities are endless. And yet they ended. For this game,
they sure did.
Barely got off the ground. Yeah, that is the game. That is the game that we've now explained. Once again, it involves a bunch of dice rolling. But not for your movement, so that's different. But it certainly has more in common with the Invasion board game than I expected it to. Simply because it's, like you said, effectively a board game. Yes. Rather, as opposed to a dueling type of Magic style card game. So your expertise does not come into play whatsoever.
Nope, not at all.
You might as well not even be here.
Yeah, who cares about me? Fuck that. I'm out. You can talk about this for the rest of the time.
Where do we begin with this game? I mean, we could begin once again with the aesthetics like we did last time.
Yeah, we could. I wouldn't want to overlook the beautiful cover art here.
Yeah. Like we said, it's all just stills from the TV show.
Yes. Now I do love that the box art does have Victor Trent morphing into an Andalite. It's got
Mid-morph.
one of his beautiful mid-morph faces where he's more Andalite than man, but he's doing weird shit with his mouth. It's got a very hairy axe, I believe.
Well, yeah.
There's like a Hork-Bajir. There's like maybe an Elfangor, or no, I think that's their dad. What the fuck is his name?
Axe's dad?
Yeah, Axe's.
Oh yeah, Blickblor Black Block.
Right. Yeah, but like a hologram guy there. And then there's just all the Animorphs down the side.
Now you're looking at set 2. The set
Yes.
1 does have a slightly different cover.
Yes, they are. It's all the same stuff, but the layout is different for the most part.
So it is just individual characters from the show, taken out of context and thrown on a background together.
Mm-hmm.
Just like last time. Remember we saw the cover of the Invasion board game and said, does that look like a big fingerprint or something? Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I guess it's like an animal pattern, like a zebra or something.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it still kind of looks like skin, like really close up. Like if you look at the like back of your hand, but you put it like right up to your eye or maybe your arm.
Whoa. I'm so high right now.
Yeah, it's got some kind of weird skin pattern to it. It's not a fingerprint though.
This one does have more going for it than the Invasion game because it has something on it.
Mm-hmm.
It is still one of the least appealing game covers I've ever seen.
It's not very good. And all of the bits of art on it are, art, I don't know if that's what I want to call it, but it's the images that they have put on it to decorate it.
Yeah.
These are all just like, yes, this is the generic image of, this character. Sure, we photoshopped him on. The only thing I only like it because it's got Eugene Lipinski doing his dumb thing, and it's honestly I could get that anywhere.
Like why there's an owl? Like why? How often? Why not? Why isn't that Tobias as a hawk? Why isn't it? I don't know, a lion. There's so many cooler animals you could have put up at the top. Does yours not have an owl on it, or you're looking at both?
Are you sure that's an owl?
What do you think it is?
It looks like a hawk to me, or some kind of bird.
Oh, maybe it's an
raptor,
osprey.
at least.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Yeah, does not look like a red tail. That I will say. That looks like some other kind of raptor.
No, it is not a red tail hawk.
Yeah,
you're right. I may have. Okay, whatever it is, it's stupid looking.
Yeah, it's not Tobias.
It's not something that I remember them ever morphing in the show.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, iconic, that bird. All birds look the same to me. I'm like Tobias. If it's not a hawk, then it's trash.
You're the opposite. Tobias is the other kind of racist. Yeah, he's not the kind who can't tell apart. He's the kind who can tell every fucking one. He's got opinions.
But there is a Hork-Bajir on here. Now, and I kind of thought, before knowing what this game would be, thinking it would be the other kind of card game, oh, this is an opportunity. We complained about how they don't really use Hork-Bajirs in the show. But like in a card game,
you
just use a picture of it and you could just play a bunch of Hork-Bajirs. Now it'd be cool. You could almost like fill in the gaps of the show. But that's not what they do.
There is a Hork-Bajir in the game. It's one of the things that could show up from the Yerk pool.
Yeah, it can happen. You can have to fight one of those. The cards themselves are not interesting to look at. The headshots of the characters are fine. Mm-hmm. They are. It looks like literally their headshots.
Yeah,
it's not them. Even from the show. It's like this is what they submitted.
Yeah,
to audition. Right. No, I guess they are in their hair and makeup. That's like the show, but
it's not fucking. It's not interesting. It's not like dynamic, or they're just kind of looking at you.
But you know what? It's better than a pawn.
That's true. It is better than a pawn.
And it does have their stats, so it has information.
But they aren't lenticulated.
That's true.
They're just double-sided.
The double-sided is kind of cool, though.
It is kind of cool.
They have the photos of the morphs with the animals. Those are fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're animals. It has a little flavored text that I guess is unique. They just wrote it for these cards, I think. It's not from somewhere. For instance, the cat says, on the darkest night, a cat can see 8 times better than a human, or a human controller.
Now, I do believe that one in particular, that 8 times better, that reminds me of a thing in the books where they say something like that, and Marco's like, "Really, 8, not 7 or 9?"
Oh, I do
I
remember
remember,
that.
yeah, I remember this joke because you were like, "Yeah, I thought the same thing."
Okay, so I'm looking at the Tobias Hawk card, like
Mhm.
his actual hawk
Yeah.
morph. It is that bird on the cover. They're saying it is
Mm.
some kind of a hawk.
Sure. It's not red-tailed.
It looks like shit. I thought it was an owl. Shows what I fucking know. I mean,
Yeah.
okay. Then there's all the other cards are just like a little square with a screenshot from the show.
Yeah.
They're pretty. I am, generally speaking, not a fan. Anytime there's a licensed board game that doesn't use original art, that's like based on a show or movie and just takes stills from the movies, there's sometimes where it works, but usually it looks like shit.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you're right. It just, that can't be good. It's just there's times where it's kind of funny. Like there's a Visser 3 card and it's literally the scene where he holds out his big fucking hairy arms when he's gonna fight Axe. It's funny, but yeah, it doesn't look good. Just fucking draw something.
Well, I mean, part of the problem is this show looked like shit when it aired.
That
So
doesn't help.
you're trying to grab screenshots from it's dark. It's even back then, it was the tapes. I'm sure whatever resources they had looked bad. There's a Firefly board game that uses all stills from the show that I think they actually did a pretty good job with. So if you do it right, it can look okay, but it's hard to pull it off. And when the show doesn't even look that good to begin with, the game's not going to look that good.
Yeah.
They can't improve on what was already there unless I guess what they could have done is put it through a filter, like high contrast, or make it look illustrated, but it's just a weird filter on it or something. They didn't have that technology in 1998.
Yeah.
99.
I really do think that they should have just gotten, I mean, especially for the morphs, it's like it turns into like a cat or some shit. There's a Marco has a gorilla card in this game.
Gorilla confirmed.
Gorilla confirmed. He doesn't have a gorilla in the show. And
is there even a gorilla in the show?
I don't think there is.
Like, I think that picture on here is.
And it's just like a gorilla sitting there. I don't even know where they got this, but it's just some photo of a gorilla. It doesn't look great. Like,
yeah, there is some other stuff. Like, there's a ferret. There's definitely animals in there that don't show up in the show. Yeah. It's interesting. Anyway,
where'd they get that? Yeah, because they had to get those photos from somewhere.
Probably just some stock photo place. I mean, I think they went to the pet store and did a little photo shoot for a day. Maybe.
But it doesn't look good. That's the end.
Look, they didn't want to have to pay an artist. I mean, nowadays AI could do it. Fucking AI.
You know what AI also could do is just grab a screen, crop it to the size of a card, and slap it on there.
Yeah, I suppose it could. The locations also on the board, which you are looking at a lot of the time, are really quite boring to look at.
Yes.
I suppose, again, in a way, a step up from the invasion, because they're not just a pyramid.
They are there, yes.
You can see, oh yeah, I guess that's Rachel's house. They took a picture of it.
I do believe they're all stills from the show.
Yeah, they have to be.
They have to be, right?
I'm pretty sure they are. Then there's the Yerk pool, which is just a deck. It has some Yerk art on it. Weirdly, in the instruction book, they use little pieces of art which are, for like, you've seen them before if you know Animorphs. For instance, the Yerk in our podcast logo is in here. The same Visser 3 monster that we discussed from last week's game, the Taxon. These are like, I don't even know who drew these, but at some point somebody drew them because they've been used a few different places. But in the rule book itself, there's no stills from the show.
Now that Yerk art, is that one of the Yerk pool has drawn Yerks
it's not
on the back.
On that card.
Okay, but
they don't look like that. I mean, they're in there. You can check, but
they are drawn. Like that is the one place where something is actually drawn. Yeah, right. Like there are Yerks in the show.
Pattern or something. Is it just like it's like the silhouette?
Yeah.
What is that? It looks like a microscopic heat ray image of a Yerk like going into somebody's ear or something.
Maybe that is from the show.
Maybe it is from the show. Yeah. Maybe there's a part where they X-ray a Yerk or something. I don't know. All right. So anyway, the game, so it doesn't look very exciting. But I suppose, I mean, the idea was theoretically this show would be liked.
Oh boy.
And so if you were a fan of the show, you would want to see the show. You'd be like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I know. That's Jake to
Yeah.
me. That's him. Sean Ashmore. He's here.
They have a board game for people who like the books, and here's
Mhm.
your board game for people who like the show.
That's right. So I don't fully blame them for it. They were trying to serve an audience that they didn't know wouldn't exist.
Yeah. And I mean, these tie-ins are also potentially building hype for it too. Like you go into the toy store or whatever, and there's fucking Christopher Ralph or whatever.
God bless him. There's my boy Boris.
Hell yeah.
Buff boy. Buff boy.
Hmm.
There's Buff boy.
I don't.
That's a buff
I
boy.
don't need you to be doing
It's
that.
like Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, but I just don't need you to be doing that.
That's a
right
buff
now.
boy.
You can not do that right now.
Well, we played this game.
Yes.
You can watch us play it. Now we're going to talk about it.
We played 2 games of this.
As I said before, it is unusual and as a whole, unlike many other games I've played, mainly in that your turn is entirely at the mercy of the card you draw from your deck.
Yes.
Which is technically true in any card game. But here, really true.
Yes.
You're, I believe you would say, top decking.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing you could say.
A cool phrase that
Yes.
Magic players know. Wow, how'd you come up with that
Wow,
one?
yeah.
The top of the deck. Cool.
Yeah, you could call it like the heart of the cards if you're like a Yu-Gi-Oh guy.
Yep.
You have no hand.
No hand.
So you're not, and that's, I said it doesn't feel like you're playing a card game. That is fundamentally what it comes down to. You don't have a hand of cards and you pick a card or two to play. You're
Even
just
board
like,
games have hands.
Yeah,
Any
yeah.
game with cards
Yeah.
has a hand.
The invasion game, you had a hand.
Yes.
You had a hand of 5 cards. No, here you're just, the cards are just actions. That come off the top. They're not.
And so if you get a spy card,
Mhm.
that's really just you put it where it's supposed to go, and that's telling you a goal that you have. But you're not doing anything.
Yeah, and
It has
then
nothing to do with you.
and then you pick another card. So
then you pick
like,
another card.
So like the whole point of that is that like you're kind of randomizing, you because the locations are randomized and the order you draw them in is randomized and where you get them, you're randomizing where you need to go and how quickly you have access to the places you need to go. And that's effectively it. Like you're not saying like, oh, it's time for me to open up this place to my, I've got 3 options. Which one do I want to open up? Do I maybe want my opponent to not know I can open any up yet? No. It's like, okay, cool. We are now at the point of the game where that happens, rather than that happening at turn 5 or whenever I have 5 points or whenever I roll 5 on the die. It's I just got that many cards deep and happened to hit it. Type of thing.
Yeah, completely. Who knows?
Yes.
You don't know how it's going to go. And then there's the morph cards, which you morph and your turn is over. You
Mhm.
don't get to draw another card.
Yeah,
Might
and
not help you at all.
Yeah, and you
Might help
don't-
your opponent.
You don't get to really choose to morph. As far as I don't believe you could, right? Like you just morph.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you hit a morph card, you're like, okay, and then one of them morphs, and then that's it. Pass turn back to you.
Yeah. And you're done.
You're done. That's the only thing you did.
I don't know why that one's not a draw another card, but it's not.
I mean, I'll tell you why it's not a draw another card, because most of them are. There's only a couple ways that you can actually stop going through your deck, and that's one of them. It's one of the big ones.
Yeah, because the Thought Speaks, they all draw another card.
I don't know if they all do, but a lot of them do.
And again, those are with one exception, I think, all not a choice you get to make.
Mhm.
It's just an event that happens. The only time you really get to think about something is if you draw the I'm in card,
Mhm.
and now you can move everybody up to their speed. And if you have more than one spy card on the board, then you are deciding which one to go to. Maybe you just want to move some away from where your opponent is, just so it's harder for them.
Mhm.
If you can't reach a spot with them. And then you get there with the best you have, you roll dice.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Does this game have less agency than the last one?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. There's very little. So I do think that one of the only things that you get to choose, I think we should say, because I don't know that we've really said it. So you start with your cards on the board, obviously, but you also start, even if you're playing Jake and Cassie,
Yeah.
you still start with Tobias and Marco and Rachel on the board. So if you get the I'm in card, you get to move your card around the board, based on its movement. And you also get to move all of the neutral Animorphs, which I do think you said that before, but I'm not sure we really explained that they were, you don't have to play a card to summon an Animorph.
Yeah, they're all there.
They're all just around. And that really is where the big decision points in the game come, is you're saying, like, do I want to go after this thing? Do I want to move them all closer to this thing? If I'm not going to get him here, do I want to move him away from, where Jonathan has goals? Do I want to try to move him over here in case I want to go after that next? Yeah, but that's it. When you draw an I'm in card, then your character and 3 other Animorphs all get to move. And that is pretty much the only decision you're making. It's very rare you're making any other decisions beyond where you move, which is another reason why, again, does not feel like a card game. Like, if you were to say the only decision you get to make in this is where you move, that's a board game. It's got to be, right?
Yeah,
This is a card game.
I mean, it's a bit like Candyland, really, which is literally just you draw a card and it says go to the red space.
Yeah.
That's like maybe the closest analog. Which ain't an analog you want to have.
No.
If you're the creator of a game. And then there is one other wrinkle, which is some Yerkpool cards are controllers. And if you fail a battle to them, they capture you.
Yes.
If you're captured, your character can't move. You can try to rescue yourself with a neutral Animorph, or your opponent can rescue you. Whoever rescues you, though, gets the controller and they're worth points. So your opponent could help you in a way, but they'd be getting a bunch of points for it.
Yeah, you would basically be getting screwed.
So that is a choice you can make. Which did happen to you. You got captured.
I did get captured, yes.
For like a few turns.
Yeah, I got captured by Visser 3.
And I don't even think... I might have tried to rescue you, but by the time I got down there and didn't have a card, you just did it already.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of the reason that I rescued myself and got all those points is because you morphed Rachel into an elephant, which you probably would not have done given the option. But you
I did. And she was real strong.
Yeah, she's real strong. Not very spy-y. Some people might call that stealth. They call it spy.
Yeah. Some people might call it stealth. Yeah, those are the 3 stats. Spy is only for the spy cards. And then the Yerkpool cards will either need strength or smarts.
Yes.
And it's just a why you don't know. It's random. And there's some obvious, an elephant has good strength, but it doesn't have any spy.
Right. Yeah.
A fly has really good spy, but no strength.
Yes.
Or smarts, probably.
Yes. All these cards also have move. So your Animorphs, your starting Animorph has 3, and then the neutral Animorphs all have 2. And, if you flip to...
if they morph.
If they morph into like a dog, you might have 4 move. That sort of thing.
All of these are things that could lead to choices.
Yes.
If you could make choices.
If you could make choices, yes.
If you were to be like, oh, a dog is good right now or whatever.
Yeah. Like if you had a hand of 5 cards and you could choose which one you wanted to do or which 2 you wanted to do.
That's not how it works, though.
Not how it works.
That is not how it works. How it works is you're at the mercy of the cards. But the last game was at the mercy of the dice, and this game is at the mercy of the cards. Now, you are still also at the mercy of the dice.
Yes.
I will say that the roles that you need, I don't know if we were just lucky or probably in a multiplayer game, this would be different. More than 2, I mean. But most of our roles felt pretty achievable. I think there were a few times when we failed or struggled, but often as long as if you have like 2 other Animorphs with you, you're probably good to get anything you come across.
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, you can always get a bad roll, but like the numbers range from 12 to 18, I think, that you need to get. And so if you have 3 Animorphs, for instance, like on Spy, you probably have at least 6 or 7 spot or whatever the stat is between 3 cards. So then you just need, and you roll 2 dice. So which, I mean, it's not even I guess it's a good thing in my opinion that you're not, at least I wasn't feeling frustrated being screwed by the dice like I was in the other game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's fun.
Yeah, I think that you had more agency with the dice in the last game than you have with the cards in this game. Obviously, you have more agency with the dice in this game because you can choose to go after different things based on how many Animorphs you can get there, or whatever. But yeah, to me, it felt like you had a little bit more in the way of options, I guess, last time than with here, where it's just like, and then you just do what the card fucking says. I do think that it probably would have become more of a thing in a 4-player game, specifically because you said if you have 2 other Animorphs, well, you're only gonna get up to 3 other Animorphs with you because that's the neutral Animorphs most of the time. And it was very common, I think, for us to kind of get them all into a pack. And it, unless somebody failed something and everybody had to go home, or the 2-hour time limit happened and they all, I don't know, whatever. Unless something happened, they all had to go back home because they all have, Cassie's house exists and
If
Cassie
you
might have to
lose,
go.
They also usually go back home if you lose a battle.
Yes, yeah. And that would disperse them across the board again. But, if everybody's got a similar amount of move, and you kind of have to get to a point where everybody is in morphs with different amounts of move, and nobody's been mass demorphed yet, which happens kind of
it depends.
Sometimes.
It could, who knows? It could be frequent or not.
Yeah. Because of that, everybody's kind of just moving as a group from one place to another. And I think that it's pretty easy to get them across the board. And with 2 people, you're often close to each other anyway. So it's just like, well, I can't really get them away from your stuff while also putting them towards mine. I think that with 3 or 4 people, you might be more likely to have, these small differences be like, well, these guys are 1 apart. Well, that means that I just can't get that one to me. So I'm putting them in the opposite direction or something like that. And now everybody is being more naturally dispersed. Not clear to me that that's true, but it might be harder to get this large group of Animorphs with more players.
Yeah, I mean, the board so it's 5 by 5 is the layout of the cards. So that's how much it takes to cross it. And like you said, the neutral ones all have 2 and you have 3. So it's not that hard to position them, especially once you're a few turns in. Odds are you have spy locations multiple places.
Yeah.
And you can just, you don't need to, like in the beginning, it's like, oh, I got to get all the way over here. It's not convenient. But by midway point of the game, you're probably like wherever you are is fine.
Yeah. But you are also just incentivized to make these big piles of them.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
you have to.
Yeah.
You really.
Yeah. And once you have a pile, they just start moving as a group. You pass the turn and your opponent's like, well, I want that group. So the group's not going to break apart. That would be stupid. Then I wouldn't get the whole group. So
yeah, you might have the opposite issue if you're playing with 4 players, where if the Animorphs are too spread apart, like I was saying, oh, it's pretty easy as long as you have a couple. If you just have it's basically impossible unless unless you're in a morph that's real good. Yeah. But even then, you're probably going to fail whatever the next thing is. If your spy is good, your strength is probably bad.
Yes.
So you got to have at least 2 Animorphs, including yourself, like pretty much always. And if they're all spread out, if you only have 2, I'd say there's like I don't know. I feel like you probably have a 50% chance that you just fail.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's how you lose, is you play with 4 players and you just never quite get anywhere.
Yeah, everyone's rolls are less successful.
You spend too much time pushing the Animorphs away from each other, and oops.
I mean, the decks are 35 cards each, which doesn't sound like that much. What, the average Magic is 50 or 60 cards, something like that?
Yeah, sure. 60 is 1, 40 might be 1.
Sure.
Depends on the format.
But I feel like that's the average CCG at least. somewhere in that range. And some turns you might go through like 4 or
Yeah.
5 because
Yeah,
you just
easy.
keep getting draw next ones. But so it sounds like in theory in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, you could run through that. That's only what, like maybe 10 turns.
Yeah.
But we just were done by before any. I don't think I even got halfway through
Yeah.
my deck.
Well, it's really hard to win 3 times and not win. Like you're not,
Right.
you know, I think it is actually very difficult to win both your spy and your Yerk pool and not get at least 8 points.
Oh yeah, and you're probably getting
Yeah.
10
Quite possibly
plus.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very confusing when we first started playing. When it was like, oh, this is a spy card. Oh, 1 point. That
Yeah.
seemed like a lot of work for 1 point. All right, next card. This one's worth 12. I was
Yeah.
like, what? What the fuck
Okay.
is happening? Because the spy cards are really just your foot in the door.
Mhm.
Thematically, I get it. Like you said, you're getting the intel and then
Yeah.
you move in. But what is that?
Yeah.
Mechanically, spy is only useful for this. Then you don't need it at all. I don't think any of the Yerk pool
No.
cards want spy because you're in there.
Yeah.
It's pointless. You're in a fight.
They all want spy because you can't get them without spy. There's no way to see a Yerk pool without spying in.
So it just kind of feels redundant.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's like maybe it should just be one card that requires 2 stats, or just eliminate spy. Like it's just padding, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Like imagine that you didn't have to succeed a spy and you just go to a place to investigate it, and then your spy, like, I don't know, if you have a spy 2, you get to look at 2 cards from Yerk pool and do one of them.
We're doing our house ruling early.
Yeah, we really are. Yeah. But like, yeah, as you said, it's very redundant. It's strange to have to beat the spy and then beat the Yerk pool. And I guess if you get captured, the other person can do it. But if not, if you find some like alien tech, it's not like, well, I spied out the area, so now the alien tech is there for the taking. Like if you fail it, then like, all right, fuck it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's also nothing other than points. Nothing stays in front of you. So it's not like, oh, I found that alien tech and now I have a power.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I have the disc.
Yeah. You can find the disc.
You can find the disc.
It's just points. Just like we said with the invasion game. Oh, these should give you a reward.
Yeah.
The reward is just points. It's just, you never feel like you're doing better or progressing, other than maybe if you get a morph, then you might think, oh wow, I was Rachel as a fly for a bit and she was really good at spying.
Mhm.
Or when she was an elephant, she was really strong.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, this card is really useful. But again, you have no control over that.
Yeah, you don't know when that's going to happen. And if that's only if your character morphs. If you morph one of the neutral Animorphs, you're kind of like, okay, that's pretty cool, but my opponent gets first crack at it, right? Because my turn's over. And like, I don't know. It's just,
imagine that happening in a 4-player game.
Jesus.
Just like, cool elephant. You guys can use it. Now my turn. Oh, everyone demorph. That was fun. I'm glad I made it an elephant.
Oh God. Yeah, that would be really bad in a 4-player. The fact that, there are ways in this game to just be like, my turn is just I morph one card and then pass. And then somebody else could be all like, I put down a spy thing and another spy thing and another spy thing. And I flip 3 cards and then I move 4 characters over to here. And then I roll for this card and then I roll for this card. And it's like, all I did was morph one character and then pass. That sucks. I'm sitting here waiting for 3 people to do shit before I can do anything.
The Animorphs also have a default morph on the other side of their card.
Yes.
Which I think there's 1 card in the default decks that will actually allow you to use that. Like,
yeah.
What's the point?
Kind of odd.
I couldn't even tell you, are they good? Are they... It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you can't choose.
It should be noted that the neutral Tobias is a boy.
Yes.
If you want Tobias to be a hawk, you have to pull the 1 card that allows you to flip him over. If you pull a Tobias morph card, it's going to morph him into like a cat or something.
I guess we're in episode 1 of the show.
He didn't get stuck to like 3 in the show.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
4.
I think it was 3.
I think it was,
Yeah, it had to be 3, yeah. The other another thing to note on the subject of Tobias being a hawk or not, they're in set 2, instead of Tobias as the neutral morph, Axe is there.
Mm-hmm.
So all 6 Animorphs are represented in these 2 sets, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
He can't play as Axe, but he's there.
Yeah, he's around.
His alternate form is a human.
Mm-hmm.
And so you flip the card over and
Paolo Costanzo.
Paolo Costanzo, right?
Well, I don't know that that's who it is.
Paolo Costanzo on that card?
I mean, I don't know. The resemblance is uncanny.
It is. So they must have published this game before Axe appeared.
They might, yeah. That, you know what? That hadn't even occurred to me. I was just like, why did they do this? But that's 100% it.
I don't know if we had a shot of this on the video. I don't think we did. But somewhere, if you go to the Board Game Geek page or somewhere, if you look online, I think there's pictures of all the cards. But yeah, the human version of Axe on this card is some guy who is not Paolo Costanzo from the show.
I don't like him.
He just looks like a douche. First of all, he looks like he's 29.
He looks like a lunkhead.
He looks like a California surfer guy.
Sure. Know? He's very like square faced.
Yeah, he's kind of like a square jaw, like short blonde, I guess, hair. Got like a little gel flip. He's got like a beefy neck.
Yeah.
It's like a thick Gaston neck.
Lunkhead.
And he's smiling. He's not showing his bottom teeth, just his upper teeth.
Fucking weird ass loser smile.
It's not our Axe.
What a dork.
But Axe is on the card. His Andalite form. Who is this guy?
That's not Elfangor, is it? They didn't just use an Elfangor because that's all they had.
I don't know, because
where's he
standing?
I do think that's Axe.
I don't know. It's so strange. Maybe they had the suit made, but they were like, we don't know who's going to play him yet. But you can put him in the game.
That's true. They only have like headshots.
Maybe this guy got recast.
When exactly did this come out relative to the show starting?
I wish that I knew that. Seropedia does not have a date. Only Board Game Geek just says 1999. So I don't really know what year was what month did this come out, versus the show? I don't know the answer to that question. But the show started in 99, right? Wasn't that season 1?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
So, yeah, season 1 aired September 98.
Hate him. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Jeez, I don't remember this.
So, we don't really know when the show aired.
That's true. That was part of the problem.
But yeah, that feels like they could have had. I think they should have had Axe known, unless they made this game far in advance and it just got held back.
Yeah. God, I hate this guy.
Stop. Would you stop?
The more I look at him,
put it down. Relax. Chill. So that was a real jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
Turning that card around was like, this is insane. I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the other cards are just what you'd expect. You can go to Siberia.
Sure can.
Location.
That is a location. You can even get a meeting at Siberia and force everyone to teleport there.
Cassie's house is a separate location from Cassie's barn or farm. It's Cassie's farm.
Ah, okay. They don't have to be next to each other, of course, because locations are randomized.
That's right. Now, they do have a suggestion in the advanced rules that you put the characters' houses on the edges, central edges, to try to make it more fair and spaced out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I kind of liked it a little better in theory when we played that way second game, because like the teleports made it feel like things got a little more broken up. I don't know. But it didn't really do much.
Yeah. This game, in theory, one thing that I don't like doing is making decisions. In my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just generally speaking.
Sure, yeah, that I feel that.
Yeah. And often I will say that can be true in board games as well. as much as I will tell you that probably makes for a better board game. Sometimes when there's a game where it's like, because some complicated board games, your turn comes around, and sometimes I get overwhelmed when I know there's 30 things I could do. I got to think about every outcome. I don't know what that player's going to do. And sometimes that's what you want. Those are sometimes the best games, but sometimes it's overwhelming. And sometimes there are those turns where I go, oh, you know what? Because they did that, I really only have one option. Wow. I have a nice little turn here. I don't have to think about it. Sometimes I like when your options, or in a game where you have a lot of options, but I guess sort of like a Gloomhaven, where as the game goes on, your options become fewer, but that also means they're more important and it's more difficult because you're losing cards as you play, right?
Sure, yeah.
Kind of an example of that. So, part of me when we first started playing this said, "Whoa, all I do is just read the card. Well, this will, easy, less brain power required." I was sort of on board for it. Wasn't sure how I was going to go, and it turns out when you make the entire game that it's pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean, listen. This is the difference between me playing a board game and me in real life. Is that in real life, I would love to never make a decision ever again. Like if I could play real life this way, where I just drew a card every hour, I draw a card, and then that's what I do.
And when 24 hours are up, you win.
When 24 hours are up, I win. Yeah, that sounds perfect. That sounds ideal. But in a board game, no, I 100%. I want to be making decisions, and I want those decisions to be impactful. And it doesn't necessarily. There's got to be a balance, right? Like if there's almost no decisions, then it kind of almost doesn't matter how impactful they are, because you get into this territory where it's almost like flipping a coin. If if there's too many decisions, it's like either it's like impossible to get through all of them, or it's kind of like there are so many decisions that it's gonna work out to about average, even if you make them at random, because some will be good and some will be bad, and it'll be fine. Like you want there to be some middling number. But like to me, what's important is that my decisions fucking mattered, right? Like I won or lost this game in large part due to the strength of my decision making. If I lost partly because I fucked up, right? I can think and I can say, what the hell did I do? Why did I lose that game? What did I do wrong? Here maybe I should have done that. Or and maybe, I said last time we were talking about randomness, and I do like it. Sometimes you say, I made that decision, and because of that decision I lost. I stand by it. I still think it was right. It just randomly happened to not work out. This is not a game like that. Like there is, you could say it's kind of stupid that all the decision making with regards to the cards is taken away, but you do get to make decisions as to where characters move. Doesn't feel very impactful. It doesn't feel like they're very, like you're not really looking at it like, ooh, what if I moved him here versus here? It's like 90% chance it doesn't fucking matter if you did that.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, well, that one's worth more points, but it's harder to do. But again, like if you have just 3 Animorphs, you don't care.
Yeah, and usually that's not even the case. It'll be like, it's not that one's harder to do. It's more like, well, I could do that one this turn, or I could move closer to that one and then pass to my opponent, and they'll move me farther from that one. So that's not really an option. So fuck that.
Or even if it doesn't really matter. The point differences of the spy cards is almost just irrelevant. Because it's just going to be dwarfed by whatever you get from the Yerk pool.
No, the range on the spy cards is 1 to 4, and the range on the stuff that you don't see coming is 6 to 12. Yeah. So it's just,
it does not matter. Whatever's closest, just go there. Yeah. Because like I said, you'll go to the next one next time.
Yeah. If you have 2 that are equally close, go to the one that's farther from what your opponent's doing.
So it basically boils down to who can get to those spots first, and then who can be lucky enough that their deck puts them all close together.
Yeah. Who gets to them first is dependent on when you flip them, and whether your chain of like, and then draw a new card ends on a morph or ends on a I'm in. That's all it comes down to.
It is strange because typically a game with this little agency, a game where you're just literally flipping a card and doing what it says, that's typically, I would think that's going to be a party game, like a casual, silly, exploding kittens kind of a game. And this is, even in spite of the reality of the mechanics, it doesn't feel like it's that kind of game. It feels like, it feels like you're making decisions and you're rolling dice and you have stats, like it feels like these things matter. But when you zoom out, you go, oh, it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know that it feels like it feels like you should be making decisions. Like when you're describing the game, when you're reading the rules, I'm like, okay, sure. I'm sure I'll figure out. Like it's not quite clear to me how this plays, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. And you come to realize, oh, the reason why it wasn't clear to me is because I was looking for the decision points, right? I'm a lot less concerned with the like, okay, do this, because that'll just make itself clearer as I read things. I'll figure it out. I don't need to pay attention to that. What do I actually need to do myself? And you're giving explanations, and I'm coming away like, I don't remember anything you said that I have to do. So I don't know what to do. And then come to find out, oh, never mind. That's because. So
I mean, in the rule book, it does, when they explain it, it does literally say, that's basically it. Just look at the card and do what it says. You're good.
Yeah, and you're like, it can't be that. And then it's like, but there are some more things. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's more. No, it's not. No, it was right.
What was the thinking? I was just looking at one of these decks because I was curious. I don't know if I'm missing a card or two here, but in this Cassie deck here, and I believe all these starter decks are the same distribution or makeup.
Maybe.
What would you call that?
That's a good question.
They must be.
You would think. They have to be, yeah.
There's 11 of 35 I'm in cards. And I'm not going to count them, but there's a lot of purple cards. So I would say the odds are
24, right?
I don't know. Oh, because one for each.
Yeah, one for each, right? Or no, because the houses don't count. So anyway.
Yeah, 18 or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. And there's only what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Count it. We love counting on this show. Everybody loves this part of the show.
We could edit it, but
no.
We've gotten so many emails about how people love it.
There's 6 morph cards in here, which is kind of more than I even maybe thought. But like, so on average, I feel like probably at least every other turn you will end up getting to an I'm in card. And I think that's true in practice of how we. So like, it's not even that it feels like, oh man, I'm getting screwed because of the card, because of the makeup of my deck.
Yeah.
But it just isn't fun.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't really matter that you're like, I don't think either of us ever felt like, oh man, I'm really winning, or it basically came down to, we would both have like 20 points, and it was just, well, whoever happens to get that I'm in next is gonna take it home.
Yeah, and
probably like, who cares?
Probably it'll be the next person, but not like so probably,
And you just
like
have
60%.
All you can do is go, hope he doesn't draw it.
Yeah, that's that.
that's my hope. Otherwise, I can't do anything about it.
That is that. I think part of the other part of the reason why this might feel less like a party game just is because there are so many moving parts to this. Like you have a deck, right? Like you could have, if in, I don't even know, if there was more agency in the way in which you could pick where you were putting your
cards,
your spies, your intels.
Yeah.
Like the I'm-ins, you said a third of the deck is all I'm-ins. And they're all exactly the same. They don't do anything different.
Yeah.
There's no reason you couldn't have just given players like a 5-card deck. Right.
And you just endlessly cycle it?
Yeah, or like, or something like this. And then like there's not enough variation in what's happening. But you have this big whole deck, which makes it feel like, oh man, these cards, they could do anything.
Right.
Like there's 35 different cards. And
it could just be like, there's one morph card and then you just, there's a morph deck.
Yeah.
Which animal did I get?
Easy.
Or you just flip them and who cares?
Yeah. The fact that there's the fact that there is a Yerk pool deck and a location deck and all of these things, you've got all these cards with these stats, blah, 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 blah. It feels more complicated than it is. It feels like there's going to be a decent amount to learn and keep track of in a way that you know, it's probably simpler than a lot of those like very simple party games to actually like play and wrap your head around. But it's set up in a way where it's going to put you off, like of somebody who has never played this before. You're going to be like, no, it'll be real easy, and they're going to be like, it's fucking 3 or 4 decks. I got to pay attention to all these stats. I have 4 stats per card and the back with different stats, 3 different decks. Like, what do you mean it's going to be simple? I'm going to have to sit here and learn these rules. No, you don't have to learn anything.
You don't
It's
have to learn
easy.
any rules.
But yeah.
Just sit down, draw a card, and we'll get you through it. You
Mm.
pretty much don't need to worry about it. And by the way, in this rule book, they do not use the word stats. They say numbers. It just says
Your numbers.
look at the numbers on your card.
Your spy number.
What they kind of did here in a lot of modern board games, what you'll have, and we kind of talked about this last week, is an event deck.
Mm-hmm.
And between turns or between rounds, you'll draw an event card and something will happen that affects the whole board or all players or does something random. And this is like they said, what if your deck was the event deck?
Yeah.
And so every turn is just that. It sucks. It's not a good, but I don't know. What was the thinking here? Were they trying to separate themselves from other games? Were they trying to say, hey, we don't want to just be another Magic or Pokemon clone. Let's really do something different. It's possible. I'll have to look at some of their other games.
I mean,
maybe this is a system they have. Maybe other games they have do this.
Is this because I keep getting, because it plays so much like a board game, I keep just thinking about this as like a classic, just like a standard tabletop. But it is true, they did make this a card game. Like, was that a thought? Like, is this supposed to be like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever? But then we're doing a totally different system, or is this just supposed to be a standalone tabletop thing? I don't know.
So I'm looking on Board Game Geek here. They have a Star Wars and Star Trek customizable card game.
Okay.
Published by the same company. Once again, by the way, the designer of Animorphs is unknown, uncredited.
Nobody has any idea who made these.
I'm looking at the Star Wars one here, and it looks pretty different. It doesn't look like it's not a 5x5 grid. Like they're actually playing cards.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Mon Mothma.
Holy shit.
Here's the Star Trek one. Looks similar. It's like, again, not, it looks more like a traditional.
Yeah, that looks like a card game.
Or at least certainly not what this is. So maybe they thought, well, this is a younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not savvy enough to wrap their heads, or maybe we don't want them to attack each other with monsters. This is a friendlier game, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Ooh, there's this episode 1. They had this young Jedi one as well. They had all these licenses. I don't see pictures of this.
How did they get all these licenses?
That's a great question. I have never heard of this company, and I have never heard of any of these games. But I also wasn't paying attention to CCGs in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if I was, I would be all over Young Jedi.
Young Jedi.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like this is it seems like this is an original idea.
Yeah, because I mean, in my head, I was going the opposite direction, saying, I played board games with you that are, imagine you have the same thing, because you've got a morph card, an I'm in card, a spy card, and a what do you call it? Thought speak, right? And you're talking about event decks, and imagine that you could take 2 actions every turn, right? Or 3 actions. You have 3 decks. Your spy, your morph, your event. You can draw from 1 or maybe 2 of them, and then you can I'm in, and that's your turn, right? And that's just every turn you do that process, and that is just like a very standard way that you would play a game. Like, that's normal.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 options here. One is that, leaning more into the board gameness of it, and the other is, would this game make any sense if you just drew 5 cards and you got to play one of them or something?
You would need, I think you 100% need some kind of restriction on what you're playing.
Sure. Well, that's why I was like
Yeah.
you get to play one per turn.
One per turn.
Unless it's if you
Yeah.
play a purple one, you get to play an extra.
Yeah, I mean that's the real problem is that a lot of these cards are designed around playing multiples.
Yeah.
But I don't really want a thing where like the strategy is just like, oh well, if I draw 5 purples, I dump my whole hand and then refill or something stupid. I don't know.
Which is just also could just happen.
Yeah, because the problem is that the game is like, but like that's part of why it's bad is because that sort of shit can happen. So I feel like, but there is a world I think in which you house rule having a hand and then you just make rules about how many cards you can play or how your hand gets refilled and those rules might even be different depending on the type of card. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe there's
one of each.
I don't know how you would deal with the problem is even in that scenario, even if these cards were not randomized, if you keep these same types of cards, your only choices are still put a location out, which is just like, I guess I want it to be close to me. Like there's no, what else, how else do you decide that? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or close to one of the Animorphs. Or morph, which, okay, that's a little interesting because, I want to use this morph and then I want to have a demorph card because it's not useful later or something.
Yeah.
The action cards, which are 90% of them are just whatever. Again, a little more because it's like, oh, well, he's getting close to that Yerk Pool thing or whatever. Spy card. I want to send everyone home. I'll play this card now. But that also doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you would know what was going to happen instead of being surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is the problem with doing it as a card game is that, like I said, there's 4 cards in the deck, right? It's not interesting to have a hand of 5 cards because there's 4 cards. It's much better to have 4 different actions you can take and take them every turn or some number of them every turn or something.
Yeah. Choose one of these actions. Do you morph this turn? Yeah, it's just like,
yeah,
it's a choice you can make. Like, why do you don't even need a card associated with it.
Yeah.
It could just be a reference card telling you, here's your possible actions.
Yeah.
You can move always.
Yeah.
You can morph, whatever.
Like if this is a card game, I want to restrict it maybe down to only Thought Speak and Morph.
Yeah.
And then dramatically increase the variance of Thought Speak and Morph cards. Maybe even put like an actual time limit on morphs or something so that, because otherwise it's like, why do I have 10 morphs? I'm just constantly flipping them out. Maybe you say like, okay, well, the morph only lasts 2 turns or something. You put the card out and it ticks down.
And probably do something else so that you care where your opponents are on the board or what they're doing. Because you really don't. I mean, you don't want them to take the Animorphs that you want to use. But other than that, I don't care where you are. There should be, like, we can be in the same space. You don't fight each other, because why would you?
Yeah, the neutral morphs thing is also just so weird. The fact that you have these people that are just kind of bouncing back and forth between you and your opponent every single turn is odd.
Yes. Yeah, these are your buddies. They'll help anybody. They're not biased.
Wow.
One of them is Tobias.
He's a little too biased, in fact.
There's a cat on my lap. He just jumped up.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, well, for listeners.
Okay.
They don't know there's a cat.
They don't see him.
It's nice. There's another cat over there, too. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, the game's bad. It's not good. Now, there's one big aspect of the game we haven't really discussed yet. It's right in the title. This card game is customizable.
That's true.
And I expected, reading the rule book, that there would be some kind of restriction of you can have this many of this type of card. No. The deck is 35. You can mix and match, even though their card backs are different, which feels like it should matter.
Yeah, it feels like you need sleeves for that to work, but
Or you just know, there's a Cassie coming up.
Yeah, no, well, fuck it. Who cares?
You can mix and match any of these sets however you want. So theoretically, you could just have a deck of I'm in cards.
You could have a deck of I'm ins, yeah. Well, then you wouldn't be able to get anywhere. You wouldn't have any spies.
Right. You need some spies. It does kind of, the way it's written sounds like they only want you to do this with these 2 sets. So you're not meant to buy like 3 of the same set and then just have a deck of all elephant morphs or something.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to just have what they want you to work with. It's again
Right.
not like a CCG.
They don't want you to double your spy things so that you just run
Right.
through half of your deck. Hey, cool, I can go to any square on the board now. I'm in.
Right. But you could add in doubles of those locations.
Yeah, why not,
I
right?
think. It doesn't
Sure.
say you can't.
Yeah, why not?
Like, I mean, maybe you just take out all your morph cards. Are they even worth having?
Yeah, let your
They might
opponents
help
morph.
someone else.
Yeah. You can keep the flip card because that lets you make a decision.
Right.
You get to flip up to 3.
And you could keep the, like, maybe just the morph to their normal form, because I think you choose, or maybe that's your character does it. I don't remember how it works, because we never drew it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, yeah, I'm really struggling to understand. Playing this did not make me go, oh man, how would I build my deck different?
Yeah.
There's 4 cards, like you said.
When I think about how to build a good quote-unquote deck in this game, my mind immediately goes to what a Magic player would call a degenerate deck. Like, my mind immediately goes to, like, could I win off of 1 I'm in card? I couldn't. But could I win off of 3 I'm in cards? Maybe. So what if there were 3 I'm in cards and every single other card just boom, 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 boom into one of them? What if that was my whole deck? What if it was not possible? Yeah, like that. It sucks. It sucks.
It's the subtitle of this game is a lie. Like technically, you could take any modern board game and just say like, yeah, you can customize it. Yeah, take that, that deck. Well, you could take some cards out if you. Sure, you could, but it's not actually designed for that.
No, you know what fucking deck? You know what fucking deck I'm making? It's all cards that draw you new cards. So turn 1, we all lose. Fuck you. Game's over. No more deck.
That's how you run it out. Just draw another cards. I mean, that is another aspect here that I like sometimes in games. I like games that we're all competing, but Marvel Legendary does this, Cutthroat Caverns does this. There's a few that do this.
Gloomhaven's kind of supposed to do it, but we never play that way in my group.
Gloomhaven. Stupid. I hate those parts are stupid. Anyway. Yeah, where we're competing, but if we don't help each other a little, we all lose. So you force some cooperation. That can be really interesting.
Yeah.
There is never a point in this game where I felt like I needed to cooperate or wanted to cooperate with you.
Yeah, like when I was captured, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, so maybe John's going to have to help me out. And I was thinking about it and I'm just like, if John helps me out, he gets a shitload of points. So what he should do is like wait a turn or 2 while I'm stuck and then come help me out. Like, that's not good for me. Like, there's just no scenario in which he helps me in which it's good for me. Right. It's not, as you said, like a Cutthroat Caverns where you might be like, I need help. And someone's like, oh, I'll help you. And you're like, good. Like, I know you're being devious, but good.
Right.
Like, that doesn't happen. Yeah.
There's never, we never felt a real threat of like, oh, the game is going to end and we're all going to lose.
Yeah.
It's a thing that they say is, oh, but then you'll all lose. So don't. Like, it's just a thing that doesn't affect your choices in any way.
Do you think they play tested this game?
Somebody must have. Somebody must have done it a few times, I think. There is another variant rule here along those lines, where if you're playing, I don't think it specifies, but I'm pretty sure they mean if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, where you can agree to help each other. If you're on a space with someone else, they can use your stats. And in exchange, it says you could agree to help them in the future or even give them a points card. It just feels like the game is not deep enough
Yeah.
for that to come into play.
Yeah. No,
Why would I
that's
ever give up a points
can't
card?
imagine that. Yeah, no, that I mean, you know what that feels like? That feels like saying, I'll give you a points card, and they go, oh hell yes. And then you give them your 1 pointer,
Yeah.
and then everyone's mad. No
Well,
one's
that
happy.
you'd have to agree. You'd have to like agree
Yeah.
on terms and say that they're binding,
Right, but
or
the
not.
problem is that if the
But
person is smart enough to agree on terms,
it means they're going to win that
yeah.
outcome.
Well, the problem, because like there isn't really a, if you, as you said, why would you ever do that? If the person is like, will you give me your 6 point card? I don't want the 12, just the 6. The answer is, well, no. No, I wouldn't do that. Just under no circumstances. The only reason I would do that is because I'm trying to scam you. So,
Right.
like,
Yeah, it's not complex enough for you to be like, oh well, there's this variable, this variable.
yeah,
It's always just going to be, well, I can just see that's a better deal for you.
yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do that. There is another alternate scoring rule we tried, where
Oh, yes.
if you get an I'm in card but you can't reach a spy location, then if you can get to the opponent's space, you get 1 point
Hmm.
as a consolation prize.
You a little smooch.
And I did that once.
Yeah, you did. You stole a kiss from me.
It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
Did not change the outcome of the game, I don't believe.
no. It solves a problem that isn't really a problem.
Yeah.
Because there's so many bigger problems.
Yes.
And again, usually when you have an I'm in card, you can probably eventually you'll just be able to reach stuff.
Yeah, like that's really the issue, is that like there are enough spy things around. Yeah, if you get an I'm in, either you can get to one, or you're saying like, well, I could get to one, but I couldn't get enough people there to like win it. So it's too dangerous. I'll just go there and get my ass kicked. Because everybody's spread out. Oh, but I could get 1 point. Okay, who cares? That's not gonna. You're still screwed.
Yeah,
You might as well get
again,
no points and put yourself in a better position.
I suppose if you're playing with 4 players, it's more likely that other people are closer to you.
Mm.
Maybe this happens more often.
Yeah.
But unlike the Invasion board game, where we can partially say mea culpa, maybe it's better for 4 players, you need to buy 2 sets of this game to even be able to play more than 2.
Yeah.
Like, so it should really be designed first and foremost as a
Yes.
2-player game. So I don't know. I mean, the 3 to 4 players rules are like under the variance. You know,
Yeah.
it's not technically how it seems like they want you to play.
Comes with 2 fucking decks. It's for
Yeah.
2 players.
Why didn't they just? I mean, I guess because they wanted to just sell you 2 boxes. Just charge twice as much and put them in one. Like, who cares? I don't. It's not. Again, they're not random.
Yeah, you're kind of like you're splitting the difference between like, oh, you got to collect them all. You gotta get all of the different things that you collect all of them.
Collect
And
both.
yeah, except in this case, it's just 2. It's fucking Pokemon Red and Blue is what it is.
Yeah, I mean the cards are not even like, we played both
Yeah.
sets. There's, in terms of the game feel, there's no difference.
Yeah, like okay, you get now your main Marco has 3 move and not the 2 move that the side Marco would have. I guess he has a different back morph, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
There's different morphs for the characters in the decks, but you know, because there's only 4 cards and most of them are just I'm in, they're all the same, or location, they're all the same. The decks are mostly the same.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that the morphs are different, because odds are you won't see them.
Yeah.
Unless you play this game a lot of times.
Yeah.
If you're really into it, which maybe that's you could argue that's sort of a silver lining of like, oh, that one game when you get the gorilla, oh, you're going to remember it because it's one of 10 games where you saw the gorilla. And then the next turn it goes away.
I'll remember all right, because I played the gorilla and said, all right, I'm excited. And then you immediately flip 2-hour time limit and all right, goodbye gorilla.
Now look, when we first started playing this game,
Mhm.
there was something fun before I really knew what the game was going to be. There was sort of a fun to being like, oh, what's my deck going to say? And hey, I am going to Victor Trent's house or Siberia.
Yeah.
And look, Rachel did turn into an elephant. Oh, she does that. That's pretty cool. There is a fraction of joy to extract in that sense if you're an Animorphs fan, I think.
Yeah. For the first
but
couple
it wears off
I do
quickly.
think that a lot of that comes from not looking through the deck beforehand. I
Yes.
think if you looked through the deck beforehand, you would have no joy
Yes, you're
ever.
right.
It's kind of like, I don't know. What's gonna happen? Okay, I got a thing. I'm in. Oh shit, I can do something. Oh my god. I wonder what next turn will bring.
It's true. You're just really assuming like this must be where it starts.
Yeah.
Even the Yerk Pool deck, you're going, oh man, well, a controller could come out. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Basically 2 things could happen.
Yeah.
More really 1.
Could be a controller or tech. Basically, it's just which stats.
Will
and
you
how
be
many
rolling
points.
dice?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you will be rolling dice. That's what will happen. You will either flip a card and do nothing, or you'll flip a card and move and roll dice. And you'll try to get a number, and yeah, you'll probably get it. Good game. Good game. Quick game. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Could say that, right? It's not too long.
No, it's not a long game.
It is it's boarding Mies is 45 minutes. I mean again, for only 2 players, it might have been the same length or possibly even shorter than the Invasion game. Certainly not much longer. There's also a couple of typos in here. There's a card with a Dracon beam that they call a Dacron weapon.
Yeah, I think that's right. Dacron.
Dacron or
Darkon.
Darkon.
I should go see if I can find it. I think it's Dacron.
I'm looking at a picture of it, but it's kind of blurry, so I can't actually tell.
And of course, because it's from the show, it's a flashlight.
Right, it's a flashlight. All your favorites are here. The disc.
The disc.
The flashlight.
Yeah, they've got the trackers. Remember those triangle tracker things?
Pretty cool. Pretty fun. Really, you'll recall all of your favorite moments from the show. I mean, was there any, nostalgia for, oh yeah, that show? We had some good times with it. or was it, or are you at a point where it's just like, no, that show sucked and I hate seeing these people?
I don't know that nostalgia is the right word.
Affection, let's say.
Yeah, I don't know that this game managed to engender any affection in me. But I think you could do that. Like there is some level of like, hee this show, lol. Maybe I'll be nostalgic in 10 years. I'll be like, remember when I watched that show for the podcast? That was nice.
Like here's Homer.
Homer.
You get to morph Homer.
Wow, it's a Homer.
Brian Renfro's credited on this card.
Oh, really?
No.
That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good. They definitely had to stretch a little bit to make 24 locations.
Yes.
There's like a TV station, a water station, there's a bunch of places that are not places that anybody gives a shit about.
Yeah. Where's my location deck?
It's in the middle somewhere. We stuffed it all into one box. Decent insert in the box,
Decent insert. What qualifies it as decent?
Well, it has 3 slots that hold the cards as opposed to the cards just being thrown in there. And it has little finger holes so you can easily pry them out. And there's a spot underneath for the dice. Like everything has a place. So it's very well organized. Now, of course, presumably, if they printed more of these, you'd be collecting them. And you would probably eventually put them in one box. Or you'd need more boxes to hold your whole collection. I don't know what their plan was. Because it's not that kind of game. It's not like a CCG.
Yeah.
Looking at some locations there?
Yeah, I am looking at some locations. Some of these I didn't get a good look at before, but I'm looking at, for example, Zoo the Gardens. And of course, I didn't really look at it when we were playing. I imagine the gardens as being like this super nice, cool zoo, amusement park. But of course, as we remember in the show, the garden zoo was kind of shitty because they had a shitty zoo to look at.
This is just a fence.
Yeah.
There's not even an animal in this picture.
Yeah. There's camp sharing. You might remember camp sharing.
Camp sharing, yeah.
Yeah. There's
Love
like
camp sharing.
A boring ass fucking beige tent on a big open field and like nobody is there. It sucks. It looks like shit. Remember the Hampton Metal Works?
I don't.
Yeah, it's got like some smokestacks, some fences, very industrial, barbed wire, that kind of thing.
Okay, sure. They probably peeked around a corner.
I'm sure they did. Remember the Waterworks station?
No.
Yeah, I don't remember where this is from, but I think I've seen that building before.
Yeah, that's like somewhere in Canada.
Yeah, it's somewhere in Canada. That's so there's some stuff. There's all the hits. The wellness center.
Yeah, the wellness center. Who was there? Was
Well,
somebody there? Is that where a character was? I don't remember.
no, that's where that was like the hospital.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, the one they were setting up.
Yeah, Victor Trent was there for a while, I guess.
That's cool. That's a lot of fun.
Anyway, those are some of the wonderful locations you can visit in this game.
You'll get to relive all your favorites from the show. It's really a thrill.
Yeah, I mean the way that this really does, I looked at the Invasion game, and it doesn't reference the books that much, but in the missions, the descriptions are things they did in the books. They at least got a summary of some of the books here. What were, they maybe they asked Kay Applegate, what were some big action set pieces that happened in your books? And she said, I don't fucking know what I ever wrote. Go talk to my editor, Tanya. But something like that. Whereas the show does not have to have been made yet. Legitimately, I don't.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering. They could have just taken been like, we've got some footage, we started filming, we've got some locations, we didn't really do much yet, here's some shots, throw it on the card. What does it mean? I don't give a shit. It's a location. Those are our locations where we shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to go to Jake's house. You know who's not in this game? Tom.
That's true.
And does Victor, other than there's a card with
the
Mr.
Trent
3
estate. Yeah.
And the Trent estate.
Yeah.
Victor Eugene Lipinski is not actually on a card.
No.
The fuck are they doing?
The Vista 3 card doesn't fucking have Eugene Lipinski.
There's Chapman's house, but I don't think Chapman is on a card.
Chapman has a card, yeah.
Oh, in one of the Yerkpool cards?
Yeah, because I noticed he's about as difficult to defeat as a horde of controllers shooting Dacrons at you.
But it feels like, what they chose to turn into a card is bizarre.
Yeah. What about, isn't there a location that's Tobias's quote unquote house?
Yes.
Kind of.
One of the cards is Tobias's house, houses in quotes.
Yes. And it's got a street sign, so I don't think it's the place where he lives as a bird.
Does that mean, it's where he used to live?
I think they're just his house is so fucking shitty.
He doesn't live there anymore.
Oh, that is true. Axe does not have a scoop, by the way.
We were confused by that.
We switched over to the other game the other set where you had Axe instead of Tobias. You still had a fucking location card for Tobias's house. Nowhere for Axe. We just assumed maybe that was supposed to be a scoop and put him there. But
yeah, it doesn't. Maybe he lives on Cassie's farm in the show. Where does he live on the show? He doesn't. He doesn't have a scoop. He seems to just the woods. Yeah. We thought maybe just the woods.
The woods. Yeah, it could be the woods. Could be Cassie's farm.
Yeah, that's very odd. That feels like an oversight. We also had a weird thing where one of our copies had 2 Yerkpool location cards and the other one didn't have any.
Yeah, weird.
I swear I got them from 2 different sources, so it's not unless you needed set 1 to play 2 sets, you have to start with 1.
Yeah,
you jump into 2. Not that you really need that card.
Because if you bought 2 and you didn't get 1, you would have only 24 locations.
Well,
you wouldn't be able to make your grid.
The deck, you would just have to take something from the Yerkpool deck and just substitute it.
Yeah, that's true.
It would be not very hard to do, but
it
is a bit odd. Yeah, this game, it really surprised me. I really would have bet that this was going to be better than the other game.
Yeah.
The other game wasn't very good.
I was expecting this to be better, yes.
I thought this is a straight ahead, this is going to be a Magic clone, a little lighter for kids. But, we're going to draw cards. I'm going to have a creature. My Hork-Bajir is going to fight your tiger or something.
Yeah.
And it's not that at all, obviously, as we've just laid out. I think I liked last week's game better.
Oh, I 100% liked last week's game better. Last week's game, I did feel like I had little ideas about strategy that you could do. Mm-hmm. It felt like I made decisions,
Last week I felt we both had very strong ideas about how you could solve problems in that game.
Yeah.
This one, we had some ideas about what if it was like this or this,
Yeah.
but the foundation here is not even as good as the other
Yeah.
game.
No, like my fundamental, if I wanted to solve the problem with this game, would be throw it out, start again, new concept.
Yeah.
Like I would make a totally different game.
What were they thinking? What happened here? I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
It, like, from every angle of game design, it doesn't make sense. Why would you ever make a game like this? It almost just plays itself. What's the point of it?
This is like a war.
Yeah.
Yeah, the war of Animorphs games.
Now, there's something else that I tried to find.
Mm-hmm.
On the back of this rule book, it says, this, again, published by a company called Decipher. The art of great games is their slogan. And it says, for solitaire rules, other Animorphs play variations, and common questions and answers, visit the Decipher website. Currently, if you go to decipher.com,
Mm-hmm.
they do appear to either still own it or have never bothered to take it down. It still exists. There is an ad for a game called How to Host a Murder, which is a game they used to, like an old game. They had many, I think they're just like murder mystery dinner party games. So in addition to licensed card games, they also did these kinds of games.
Sure.
And it seems like they were planning to reboot this, and it says coming 2020. The new How to Host a Murder.
And coming 2020 means they didn't know COVID was coming. And if this is one of those like social party games, right, they got fucked.
Hey, that's when you capitalize on that shit. Zoom parties. That's when you fucking make lemonade if
I mean, it depends. The problem is it's got to be the kind, this can't be the kind you have to be there in person, because like some of these are. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what this is.
Because I remember playtesting for someone like online Zoom escape rooms during COVID, because like you couldn't come in person, so they like made Zoom versions, stuff like that. Anyway, it's there. There's nothing else on this website. It's just an image saying coming 2020. So I went to the Wayback Machine and looked at some old versions of this website, and
Jesus, these look like shit.
Many of them, all from like I looked in 98, 99, 2000. None of the ones I looked at, there's more I didn't check, so I have no idea how extensively I needed to look, but I could not find any Animorphs sections. So I don't know if they ever actually hosted these. Like, I don't even see a list of it in their games. It's not mentioned anywhere. I don't know what happened.
Unknown designer, unknown that the company, yeah. Maybe they lied. Maybe the designer just Googled a real company name, slapped it on the back, hoped they didn't get sued.
What I did find was, let's see, here's the Austin Powers card game.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, granting them, this is their announcement for it in 1999. Really exciting. With the original movie Austin Powers International Man of Mystery, the most recent smash hit The Spy Who Shagged Me, and options for future Austin Powers titles at their disposal. Decipher is ecstatic to be given the opportunity to be involved with this highly original and totally groovy property. Highly original is a strange way to characterize a direct spoof film.
Yeah, what highly original.
Austin Powers, this is the CEO speaking. Austin Powers is the property to have right now. The Spy Who Shagged Me has already proven to be one of the summer's hottest hits, second only to the release of Star Wars Episode 1.
This is like a fucking spiel for venture capitalists to come like give you money for your project.
This is the press release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I'm like, this does not sound like they're trying to get you hyped to play their game. This sounds like they want to make the game but don't have the funds to do it yet. They're like, we got the license. We just need people to kick in some money.
They also purchased Felicity Shagwell's Corvette Stingray, and they were going to tour America with this car and presumably give away the card game or something. There's also, they had a game called Girl Power. Looks like it's about young girls having power.
Sure.
And this I liked. They had one version of it had a link to the question of the day. Here's the question of the day from October 13th, 1999. Which is your favorite non-human pod racer pilot from the Menace of Darth Maul? That's what it says. Capital M from the Menace of Darth Maul. Now, the movie was out at this point. They knew the title. I don't know what this is about. Anyway, what's your choices are Sebulba, Ben Quadraneros, Gascano, Mahonic, and Teamto Pagales. I don't know how to say that one.
I'm kind of a Quadraneros fan.
Of course. Sebulba, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the problem. You don't want to be basic and say Sebulba, but like, how can you not love Sebulba?
Yeah, I don't know if... it took me to another poll results. I wanted to view the results. That's too bad. Listeners, let us know who you think, who your favorite is.
Yeah, we want to know.
41% of poll respondents said that X-Wing was their favorite rebel fighter.
Only 41. Feels low.
39% said A-Wing.
That's crazy.
That's fucking weird.
That's insane. It was a different time.
Things were different then.
Yeah.
There wasn't room for Animorphs on this website. They had Star Wars. Like, let's be real, if you have Star Wars and Star Trek, you're not going to fucking devote a page to Animorphs.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this shit?
I mean,
it's not paying my bills.
This is relevant to our announcement, which is that we are becoming a Star Wars podcast as of next episode.
As of now.
As of now.
We just
We're
made
done
the crossover.
with Animorphs. Animorphs is over. Don't give us Animorphs emails anymore. We want Star Wars emails.
Fuck you if you try that shit. We will not read it. Oh, man. What a bizarre thing this was. I did not expect all this game, both of these games, all three of these games, well, two games, but the two card game sets and the invasion.
Okay, sure.
Have been sitting on my shelf for like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah. You've had a lot of anticipation for this.
Fully wrapped. Yeah. Never looked at them until now.
You just look over them at any moment. You kind of look over at your shelf and there it is, just waiting for me. Can't wait to play it.
Did I jack off to the box? Yeah, a few times. Mostly the Victor Trent.
I saw one or two of those since coming here.
Right.
Yeah.
Never would I have thought that this game is what it is. It was like, just it's such a layup.
Mm-hmm.
It's even like, it's the hacky, obvious choice to just make it a CCG. Why not just do that? It's so bizarre. Like the other game, I get it. That's exactly what I thought that game would be.
Yeah.
In terms of complexity, everything. This game is baffling to me.
Like even at the time, there were just a billion knockoff CCGs. Like we are everyone knows how to do this.
It's so weird. What the fuck happened here? And now we have both sets. Why? Like unlike the invasion, which I said, I would try this with 4 players. I'm curious. I don't want to play this again.
Yeah, why?
I'm not curious about this.
Yeah. I honestly think the biggest difference is that you might be more likely to all lose from running out of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you're going to have control over that.
No.
I think the biggest difference is that might happen. And you'd be like, whoops, looks like we lost.
Yeah, and then you can go, I shouldn't have tried to stop you from winning because now I didn't win and none of us did.
Except then it'll be like, who tried to do what? Who tried anything? Nobody fucking did anything. The card told me.
This game on Board Game Geek has a 3.4.
That is not enough of a discrepancy from the last game, I personally feel.
Well, it's also, you have to keep in mind, dependent on how many people actually played this game, which is, the number is probably very small. I do wish we had information on, like, how long was this in print for? Where did they sell it? Was this in toy stores? Was this at comic shops? I don't know. Has anyone out there ever seen this game? Looking at some of the reviews, this person said fairly terrible. I want to think about creating my own Animorphs LCG someday, so I keep this for nostalgia and inspiration.
Well, you're getting inspired by, but okay.
That was inspired to make better than this shit.
Okay, just the idea is now in your head because you see it.
This review says, I feel like there is almost a game here. But out of the box, it's barely playable. Yeah, you barely play it.
Yeah, I agree. It is not quite a game, and you barely play it. So
I expected it to be the worst game I had ever played. Turns out it isn't even nearly the worst one, but it isn't really enjoyable either. It lacks control. Everything's down to luck of the draw. I have too many better games to play, so I can't be bothered to improve the rules for this.
What do you mean bothered? How do you? I really did think that was going to say, I thought it was going to be the worst game I ever played. Turns out it's not a game. It's fine.
Like who is the audience for this? Because it doesn't look like a game for little kids. It looks like it's meant for teenagers.
Yeah, no, none of this
but
packaging.
It's brain dead.
Yeah.
It's like,
this is a game you would play with like 7-year-olds. 6-year-olds even.
But I don't think they would like it.
No, they wouldn't.
Doesn't look, it's not
it's
fun
not
looking.
for them, yeah. It's the kind of thing that 5-year-olds would love because 5-year-olds don't understand what decisions are. They're just like, yeah, the card, I did think. Yeah, but it doesn't fucking mean anything.
So listeners, probably don't look for this. It's probably for the best that's out of print. There's really nothing. There's nothing here.
Yeah.
The offer's nothing.
Not good.
It's the best thing you can say about this game is that it made the other game look better.
Yeah. You got a whole episode of a podcast out of it too. That's probably one of the most worthwhile things this game's ever done.
And look at the worst thing about it is I wanted to go on unhinged rants about what I don't like about Magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could have had a discussion. It would have been fun.
We could have fought.
Hell yeah. We could still fight.
I don't have the energy for that. Yeah, we'll do it later.
Yeah.
We'll do a little wrestling.
Fuck.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Oh, I will.
We're celibate. Let the people know we're celibate. We're waiting for marriage.
I'm Volcel.
Yeah. God will bless our marriage. Now, a little soaking here and there. Nothing wrong with that.
We got a new pope now. What do people think about that?
Oh, yeah. That's evergreen. Every few years, that's probably true.
That's true. It's just come out. We got a new pope now.
When did this podcast come out? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's a new one. The old conclave got together.
Yeah.
They did
I know all about that now. I saw that movie.
Yep.
Expert.
Spotlight. Is that what you're talking about?
We kind of veered off the topic of this board game.
I guess we're done.
I guess so.
I don't think we need to say anything else.
All right. Do you want to plug anything? Do you want to say maybe?
Yeah, we'll do
like
those things that we do.
Yeah, do that.
Listeners, if anyone has experience with this game or any explanation for how this came to be and why, email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com. Your time is limited. There's only a handful of episodes left. We'll talk about the nitty-gritty next week maybe, but just stay tuned. Email now or forever hold your peace. And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/theyerkyboys. Again, for $5, you get bonus episodes every week, and you get to watch us play this game.
It's not a lot of weeks left, but there are some, and there's all the backlog of content too.
Right.
Yeah.
And
get
this
in
week,
now.
We're going to be discussing kind of a big one.
Mm-hmm.
A book series by Michael Grant, solo, called Gone. No KA. We said we did enough of her. She's all over. She's a hog in the spotlight.
Fuck that.
Let your poor husband Michael shine for once.
I saw the Catherine. What about the A? Stands for Michael.
It stands for and Michael.
And Michael, yeah.
Catherine and Michael Applegate. So that's that. Follow me on Blue Sky at Quince, or go to my website, jonathanestes.com. Will?
Don't follow me. Fuck that. Thanks
Okay.
everyone for listening. Tune in next week when we will be talking about the toys and merch on the Yerky Boys.
Yeah, of Animorphs.
Of Animorphs.
I mean,
the Animorphs toys and merch.